Donald and Douglas, the Scottish twins, did not mind they did. Coaches or freight cars, it was all the same to them. Which meant, as often as not, that they pulled freight cars, since the big engines all disliked them. "You don't really like them, do you?" James asked one day. "Och, it's," remarked Douglas. "If we didn't do it, some other buddy would." James marveled. He did cars himself, but he had to admit that Donald and Douglas managed to make them better than anyone else did. The secret, of course, was that the cars had not forgotten an incident when Douglas had smashed a brake van. It had been an accident, really, but no one told the freight cars, and they still thought that Douglas had done it on purpose. "Keep on the side of those two," the freight cars had said to each other when either of the twins was about. One day, Donald had to take empty freight cars to the other railway and bring back loaded ones. The empties, and when Donald reached the big station, he was feeling, "Ha, we've got those cars flicked." What he didn't realize was that the loaded ones he was about to take back were visitors and had never been flicked by anybody. "What's this?" they screeched when Donald backed onto them. "We want a proper engine, steam kettle!" They should, of course, have known better. But then cars never do. "Old," snorted Donald. "I'll take that!" And he gave the freight cars a hard bump. The freight cars sniggered. "He's cross," they whispered. "Let's have some fun." They behaved for a while, and Donald began to think he had them under control. Like the freight cars, he should have known better. By the time they reached the workstation, an axle box on one of the cars had run high, and they had to shunt that one off the train. At the next station, they had to fasten a brake rod which had slipped on, accidentally, on purpose. One delay followed another, and Donald became crosser and crosser. "Oh, things," he scolded. But the freight cars did. "What does he know about it?" they asked each other. "We're might like his sort. Steam kettle! Ha!" At the top of Gordon's Hill, Donald stopped so that the brakes could be checked along the train. Unfortunately, he restarted more quickly than he meant to, and the jerk broke an old coupling hook 10 cars from the end. Feeling the snatch, Donald's firemen looked back. They were already a little way down the hill, but coming after them and gathering speed on the slope, he saw the last 10 cars. "We've got to keep ahead of them, Donald," he said. "Quick now, I just nothing in the platform at Edwards Station." "But we're supposed to stop there and leave some of these freight cars," objected Donald. "Can't help that," replied the driver. "If those cars catch us, we'll stop even earlier, because they'll knock us off the rails." "What are we waiting for then?" asked Donald, and put on speed. It was touch and go for a while. If the conductor's brake hadn't been holding the breakaway slightly, Donald could not have kept ahead. But he managed it. Just. They saw Edwards Station ahead. Whistling loudly, Donald raced towards it, while the freight cars followed, screaming with fright. Quickly, the signalman summed up the situation. He set the line ahead as far as he could, and Donald clattered by. Then came the freight cars, but the signalman saw with relief that they were slowing down by the time they reached him. With a groan with relief, they stopped, just beyond the station platform. The signalman sent out an obstruction and set all his signals to stop. Then, he waited. When he was sure that the freight cars had stopped, Donald stopped too, half a mile further on. "We shall need permission to go back," the driver told the fireman. "Nip back and clear it with the signalman, please." When he had permission, Donald was able to go carefully back towards the freight cars. He bumped them fiercely. "No, will you?" And this time the freight cars had scared even themselves. "We will," they quivered uncertainly. And Donald finished his with no more at all.